Hi, I'm Michelle Sakurka. The New Jersey Business and Industry Association is committed to educating the public about the important issues impacting New Jersey's businesses and economy. That's why we're proud to support the important programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation.
This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Rowan University, educating New Jersey leaders, partnering with New Jersey businesses, transforming New Jersey's future. Josh S. Weston, Virtua, Partners for Health Foundation, partnering to make our communities healthier, better places to live. Prudential Financial's Global Communications Department, TD Bank, and by Verizon. Promotional support provided by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association and by Observer New Jersey Politics.
This is One-on-One. I'm an equal American just like you are.
The jobs of tomorrow are not the jobs of yesterday.
Look at this. You got this?
Here it is, man. Look at that.
Life without dance is boring.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
Do you enjoy talking politics?
No.
People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
Our culture, I don't think, has ever been tested the way it's being tested right now.
Such a good question. High five.
That looks very interesting. That's from Come From Away and Irene Sankoff and David Hein. They put this whole husband and wife team, you put this whole thing together. This is a play over at the Schoenfeld Theater on 45th Street. The premise of this play is extraordinary. Describe it.
It tells the true story of when 38 planes and thousands of people were diverted to this little town in Newfoundland on the northeast corner of the continent after 9/11 when the U.S. airspace was closed. And the people there opened their hearts and homes. They invited them off the planes, then they brought them into their halls, their schools, then they brought them back to their houses. They gave them, they let them have showers, they washed their clothes, they fed them for 5 days. They gave them everything, and they made these lifelong friendships. People changed their lives there.
How is it that we didn't know about this?
I think justifiably so. We lived in New York on September 11th. Our focus was elsewhere. And it just took a while for this story to come out to the surface because, the people who did this, they weren't looking for any type of thanks. They'll say right to you, oh, thank you, it was good on the way out. That's more than enough. And, they're happy now that they're getting recognition, but at the same time, they're like, we don't need it. We would have done it without it. And clearly, 15 years later, they're getting recognition for it.
Okay, so the people in Newfoundland.
Yes.
Newfoundland, excuse me.
That's okay, that's okay, yeah.
So they're there, right? These planes are coming in. Mm-hmm. People are, and they don't know these people.
Yeah.
No.
And how do they connect with these people?
Newfoundland's based on this culture of welcoming people in. It's this rock in the ocean. They have these terrible winters, and they support each other. That's the way they stay warm, is by coming together as a community. If a stranger shows up at your door, you got to welcome them in because you're going to be in the same situation the next day. And they just brought them in. They just helped them unconditionally. We saw the same thing when we went out there on 2011 on the 10th anniversary, and we got invited into people's homes too. They wouldn't let us stay at a hotel. They'd say, don't be spending money on a hotel, just come stay with us, here's the keys, feed the cats. And then they'd leave, and we'd be at their house.
Amazing.
But the difference is, when they had those planes landing, they had no idea who was on those planes. They really didn't. Nobody knew what was coming next. And yet, they landed those planes, they kept them on their tarmac, they took people off of the planes, not knowing who they were at all.
And this was 9/11.
This was on September 11th, and they brought them into their town, into their halls, and then into their homes. It was nice and it was generous and all those nice things, but it was also really brave and really smart.
How did this story come to you? How did you come to the story?
So we're both Canadian, but we're living here. But a friend introduced us to the story, and we found out there was going to be a commemoration ceremony. And all of these passengers and these flight crew and pilots were returning there. And it's hard to get out to Newfoundland, but on the 10th anniversary, they wanted to be there to reunite with the friends they'd made. People had fallen in love there. Everything had changed for them there. So a lot of people returned. And we went out there, and there was all of this press looking for 5-second sound bites, and we didn't know what we were looking for. So we just started interviewing people for hours at a time and got invited into their houses and then got, made friends as well who have been, following us for the past 7 years.
Okay, but where is the idea for the story? I mean, where is the idea, hey, we're going to do this. We want to bring this, make it a play. I mean,
Right away, as we started talking to people, and Newfoundlanders are fabulous storytellers, we didn't even know what to do with ourselves. We had pens and pads of paper, and we couldn't write fast enough. And then we're like, I hope these iPhone things record. And they threw those down. And the passion with which the people who had returned talked about how grateful they were a decade later. We knew that type of passion can get translated onto the stage. And then with the music, Newfoundland, the music is in the DNA. You can't tell a story about Newfoundland without the music.
Everyone plays like 7 instruments out there.
What?
Yeah,
what are you going to do?
That's how they get through the winters. You go over to each other's kitchen parties and you play music and you tell stories and you keep warm by dancing, and that's what our show's about, is this community telling the story.
Describe the title.
Come From Away is anyone who doesn't come from Newfoundland. So you're either a Newfoundlander or you're a come from away. So we were come from aways when we went out there, but we fell in love with the place. But the thing that I like about the title is it becomes, when you just put it out there in a little box, it becomes a welcoming message. It says, come here.
What's been the reaction so far?
Overwhelmingly positive. The cast on stage describes it as physical when the audience leaps to their feet and applauds, because it's like a wave of sound that hits you. And of course, we've only heard it from backstage or in the back, but even so, if people recognize us, we get thanked for telling the story so that people have another memory to associate with that day. Like, nothing to replace it, nothing to diminish what happened, but it's another memory, and it's a hopeful one.
Curious about this. I mean, there's so many things that are fascinating about it. By the way, tell everyone where they can check the play out.
Comefromaway.com.
Okay.
At the Schoenfeld Theater on 45th Street.
She's better at plugging than you are.
She is.
My wife and I often say that we could never, quote, work together. Mostly because she would never want to work for me. How the heck does this work?
It's not for the faint of heart.
It's not for the...
It's not for the faint of heart. It's not, no.
But at the same time, it's great. So, what's wonderful...
What's great about it?
Well, what's great about working with your spouse is you've already solved conflict resolution and tension.
We've been married a long time before, and together a long time before we started working together.
How many years?
We've married over 15 years now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are the ground rules? Let's go.
Well, so don't talk about the show when you're tired, when you're angry, when you're hungry, in the morning with her.
That's a lot.
Hold on, wait a minute. What's left?
Not much.
There's a very short window to work on the show.
Where everyone has to behave themselves because we work in public, so that we have to be nice to each other.
Yeah.
So you're peeved with him, but everyone's around and nothing. You don't show it.
Well, you have to show it in a professional manner, as if you were working in a place where there was lots of people, which you are.
And at the end of the day, what's great is I know that she loves me and I love her, and there's something about working together with someone who, there's unconditional love, and we're aimed at the same thing, and we're side by side, and there's nothing better than that.
Do you guys do yoga?
No, we really are told that we should, but we don't. Yeah, I know. We sound like we do. We don't. But
Namaste. Come From Away, an incredible story at the Schoenfeld Theater. I got to tell you, this is wonderful that you're doing this, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the reaction continues to be. Irene and David, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Stay with us. One-on-One will continue right after this from Lincoln Center. That was great.
To watch more One-on-One with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
We're pleased to be joined by Darren Goldstein. It says actor here, but it's so much more than that. So he's in Little Foxes, which is playing at the Samuel Friedman Theater on 47th Street.
Yep, 47th.
I saw him first, along with millions of others, in a terrific series called The Affair. He plays Oscar Hodges, right? Could you describe Oscar?
Oscar's a complicated guy. He started off in the first 2 seasons as the owner of the Lobster Roll, where Ruth Wilson's character worked, and he has some feelings about Ruth's character, Allison, and they have a history together, so he's not too keen on the idea of her being with other guys.
I could tell already what a good actor you are, because I'm sitting there going, I don't like that guy, and I like this guy.
No one does.
Georgette, which clip do we have from? Let's take a look at The Affair, okay?
Oh, what do you got? So what's going on, Allie?
You know, just dying slowly.
Hey, you know what I was just thinking about? That first summer you came to work for us? How old were you? 16? My father still owned the place. I was working behind the counter. Remember that?
Not well.
You were the prettiest piece of back then. In your little candy stripes. Not that there's anything wrong with you now, right? But 15 years ago, Jesus.
Oh, God, what a creep. Fun playing that role?
So much fun.
Because?
Well, you just get to indulge in things that you can't say in life.
Or wouldn't.
Well, you know. Totally kidding.
Totally.
No, totally kidding. Yes, no, you'd never say it in life, but you get to just kind of explore some really, you know, good dark language that you never really do.
But a series like this that has gotten a lot of buzz, how much has it helped or impacted your career?
Oh, it helped a lot. Yeah. I helped it just more opportunities. People see me around more. I get recognized a little bit more. But the most important thing is I just get better opportunities in New York theater, and I think it had something to do with getting me this job, the Little Foxes.
Yeah, let's talk about Little Foxes.
Yeah.
Now you have, you know, the fact that Laura Linney and Cynthia Nixon play opposite you, same role.
So they both
play the same.
Both roles, different shows. Is that clear?
Okay, yes,
You know what I mean?
yes. And for you,
Yeah.
what is that like as an actor?
Well, we've been rehearsing it that way from day one, so it's kind of that's the only thing we know, and it's been very seamless. They're very easy to work with. I actually thought it was going to be more complicated than it has been. It's actually not. I don't know. It's been a very and there's just their takes are so different on the roles, but they're both such great actresses, and it hasn't been all that much more challenging than a traditional role.
The premise of Little Foxes is?
Premise of Little Foxes, it's about 2 brothers and a sister. The sister is named Regina. I play Regina's brother.
Oscar?
Oscar.
Again?
Again,
A
Oscar
different
Hubbard. That's right.
Oscar
Oscar
Hubbard.
Hubbard. My brother is then Ben, played by Michael McKean. He's on the left over there. And then on the left is Richard Thomas, and that is Regina's husband. So it's 1900 Alabama. We all want to go into business to buy a cotton mill. The brothers and the sister don't have enough money. We need to enlist Horace, who's Richard Thomas. We need his money. He's not too keen on giving us the money, so we have to kind of finagle it out.
Are they
of
nice
him.
people?
No.
No.
Nothing about
That was
them is
quick.
nice. No, not nice. There are clear good characters in it, and there are clear evil characters.
And you are a?
Evil.
That's 2 evils.
2 evils named Oscar.
Oscar Hodges and this Oscar.
I just kind of
Hubbard. What's up?
I don't know.
And you're this incredibly congenial man.
Just guy from Long Island.
Grew up over on Long Island.
Yeah,
What's
wow.
going on in Long Island in the water?
Huntington. I don't know. Did you Long Island?
I'm a Jersey guy.
Jersey. So we speak the same language.
Basically, we do.
Come on.
So when you're growing up on the island,
Yep.
do you say to yourself, I'm going to New York.
Not at all.
Get out of here. Well, what was the thing going on
went
for you as a kid?
I didn't know. I had a job. I worked at an ice cream store for 4 years. That was just my thing. I liked making money, having some money as a high school
You're a hustler.
kid. I was a hustler.
No, hustler in a good way.
Hustler in a good way, yeah.
That's what I mean.
And then I didn't have a lot of interests within school. Then I went to SUNY Albany, and I got the bug there. That's when I kind of got
acted
into
up there?
Yeah, in my junior year. I was a fraternity guy for a few years, had great experiences there, but needed something a little bit more. and got into acting in my junior year of college.
Wow.
Yeah, late.
Pretty late.
Late.
But I mean, hardcore. It hit you.
Hit me real hard. I was terrible and just worked really hard for the next, that was 20 years ago.
That's interesting. For a lot of people who say you have to know what it is when you're 10, 12.
No. I mean, that wasn't my
Didn't have
experience. No.
Right. The affair moving forward.
Mm-hmm. I actually don't. They keep everything very secret.
Like, for real, you're just saying that,
Listen,
because you're supposed to say that?
I know nothing. I don't know my involvement in it for season 4. It starts, I believe it'll start shooting again in August.
And on Long Island?
No, it's moved. The show's base is actually moving to California. That doesn't mean that it will not take place in Long Island, but they're shooting a lot of it in California. And I don't know if that means they're going to come back and do some location stuff.
I don't want to obsess over this, but the 2 other characters, you're the main character, the 2 other main characters.
Well, no. There's 4 main characters, which is Josh Jackson, Maura Tierney, Dominic West, and Ruth Wilson. Those are the 4.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. But Dominic is not from the United States.
England.
What's up with the accent?
I don't know.
And his...
Ruth.
Not from the United States.
English.
What's up with...
Don't know.
That's talent.
It's good, right?
It's fascinating.
People don't understand. They're like, they're English.
So what's it like together with them in terms of the chemistry? I mean, you're not going to tell me it's bad. I mean...
Oh, but the chemistry between Dom and Ruth?
You're working together.
Great.
What's it like?
Everyone loves the gig. It's a great job for everyone. We have a great time when we're on it. It's great, especially when we're out in Long Island. We go out to Montauk. We'll go out for 5 days, shoot all those Montauk scenes in a big cluster, one cluster of time. So we get put up on the beach. It's really sweet and Showtime treats it so well.
Before we plug Little Foxes again, one more thing. Stupid question. Do people confuse you, this guy, this nice guy, with Oscar in real life?
No, I mean, there have definitely been times when people will yell across the street and just be like, I had this once, you're a jerk. And they might think that I think they're kidding. They're a little or in the grocery store, boy, what a scumbag. You might have to beat that out. And I think I know what they mean, but they don't then say,
just kidding.
Just kidding. I think they think it's implied that they're just kidding.
These are not Jersey people.
No.
Leave it alone. And by the way, one more time, Little Foxes, Darren Goldstein with a terrific cast, Laura Linney, Cynthia Nixon over at the Samuel Friedman Theater.
Till July 2nd.
Till July 7th on a second? Second on 47th Street. And also catch them on The Affair. Where can that be seen?
Showtime, Sunday nights, but we'll see. Don't know what's going to happen this year.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Steve.
You're great.
Thanks.
And appreciate it. You got a matinee today.
I do.
Check us out right after this. We'll be right back, I think.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We welcome Hans van der Weerd, is Vice President, International Rescue Committee, U.S. Programs. Good to see you, Hans.
Thank you for having me.
By the way, happy birthday.
Thank you for that, too.
The public television family welcomes you and wish you a happy birthday. The organization, talk about what it does.
So the International Rescue Committee is an international aid agency, and we provide support to refugees, people that are suffering from conflict, disaster, all over the world and in the United States.
And our good friend and a board member here at Public Broadcasting, Josh Weston, told us about you and your organization. He said one of the most important things, and he's right about this, is that we have the responsibility to try to clarify some things about refugees in terms of the vetting process, what the facts are and what the misconceptions are. What are the facts when it comes to refugees and how they are vetted?
So the first fact that I want to share with you, Steve, is that there is no harder way to get into the United States than through the Refugee Resettlement Program, other than perhaps swimming, the Atlantic Ocean. Refugees undergo very extensive security screenings that take all in all more than 1.5 years, where they're being vetted by multiple government agencies, including the State Department, intelligence agencies. So before a refugee gets here, so many people have actually, checked their stories and have made sure that they are who they say they are. So it's a big myth that we don't know who is coming to the United States. We know exactly who is coming to the United States.
Why do you think, Hans, that there is so much confusion about the borders being porous, about refugees just coming in and we can't have this, and the perception that everything you just said just couldn't be the case? It's not the case.
Well, I think, it's very important that we explain really what the facts are, because if people don't have that information, they don't know.
Where'd they get the idea, and you think that it's not the case?
I think there has been a lot of, factless, information being put out by people who are not necessarily in favor of foreigners coming to the United States, who use fear in order to move forward an agenda, a political agenda, and where it is always important to have people that you can blame for, economic distress, or where you can blame people for security risks. And I think in this case, it's been very easy to blame refugees, for problems that they have really nothing to do with. They are people like you and me that are fleeing violence and that just want a better future for their families.
You talk about refugees, and there are two young refugees I believe we're about to see in this clip that your organization videotaped, I believe, and they're talking about their experience, correct? Yes. And what they, in fact, contribute to this country. Let's take a look.
I'm a freshman at the University of Idaho in Moscow. I'm a pre-med with an emphasis in biology.
I am going to the University of Idaho. It's in Moscow, Idaho. I'm studying international studies and philosophy. And when I graduate, I'm planning on going to law school.
I'm here to give back to the community that accepted our family, and that's our only purpose.
All refugees have a story to tell, and if you just give them an opportunity to tell you that story, and that they're not who you think they are, they might just surprise you. That's how this country was founded, based on different ideologies, beliefs, and stuff like that, and that's what makes America different from other countries.
Two young men from Zambia. What do you see when you look at them?
I see men with dreams, with passions, with ideas about how they want to shape their future. I see people that are immensely grateful for the fact that they are here, that want to give back to this country, as so many other refugees have done before them. Yeah. Secretary Albright was a refugee. Sergey Brin, Albert Einstein, Sergey Brin, the founder of Google. But there are also hundreds and thousands of other refugees who have really contributed to this country.
Yeah, but let me play devil's advocate and ask you this. What about those who say they want to protect our borders and are concerned about people who would come into this country to do us harm, and that the proposed second ban, and we're doing this program in the spring of 2017, we don't know what's going to happen, the White House, the Trump travel ban that's been proposed, involves certain countries that the president believes, that those around him believe, that some others in this country believe. And because there are Americans who support us, a significant number, are looking to protect us, not from the people you just described, but from others who would do us harm. You say?
I agree with the fact that, say, this country needs to have very strong vetting mechanisms. I agree.
Extreme vetting, as the president says. You say?
I think the vetting at the moment is extremely strict and stringent, and I believe that's a good thing. I believe that this country should protect its borders. I believe this country is protecting its borders right now. Many administrations before this have worked on making this country a safe country. But I think we also have to find the right balance between security and compassion, and between, security and the values of our nation. And the facts, Steve, bear this out. Since 9/11, 800,000 refugees have arrived, and not a single one has been involved in any incidents. When refugees come to communities and cities, their economies start to grow. The value of properties increase. crime goes down. There is a real positive impact of refugees into this country. And I think we should talk about these things much more.
But excuse me, respectfully, limited time we left. There are incidents when someone who does come into this country commits a crime, someone points to that and they say, see,
there will always be incidents, individuals that really, are deranged, disturbed people.
But the larger message is?
But we can't paint whole communities, whole religions, with the same brush and basically turn our back to the world. That's my message.
That's also not what this country is based on.
This is not what this country has been about.
Hans, I want to thank you and your colleagues at the International Rescue Committee, U.S. Programs, and our good friend Josh Weston for introducing us to you. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work.
One on One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. This special edition of One on One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Rowan University, Josh S. Weston, Virtua, Partners for Health Foundation, Prudential Financial's Global Communications Department, TD Bank, and by Verizon. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
At Virtua, we don't cut the quad tendon for knee replacement, so you don't have to cut anything you love to do. It's what we don't cut that counts. The Virtua Joint Replacement Institute. Visit GotMyLifeBack.org today.